You know it's the time of year when the witches and ghosts appear. They come at night when there's no more light. Halloween is almost here. Welcome to Pixie and the Paranormal. I'm Pix, and in this episode, I'm doing a deep dive into the origins of Halloween. So stay with me, buckle up for a slight history lesson, followed by my own personal rabbit hole of beliefs, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more witchy content. Hey ghosties, thank you for being here with me for an episode I'm just honestly so excited about. Today we are talking all about Halloween and the true origins of this magical day, or honestly, dare I say, season. This time of year, it truly is magical and makes me feel just totally alive. It's the colorful falling leaves, the air is turning crisp, the comfort foods we start to make, at least in my house. Tangent, we went to Trader Joe's just earlier today and I bought all the pumpkin products I could get my hands on. My poor husband was such a trooper with me and he let me get whatever I wanted. We actually picked up that pumpkin shaped pasta. I'm sure you've seen it on, Instagram or TikTok. And we're going to make mac and cheese with it because I told my husband if it turns out yummy, we're going to make it for Thanksgiving. Because honestly, like how cute would pumpkin shaped mac and cheese be for Thanksgiving? Like all the fall things like that, they just make my soul feel totally alive. Like honestly, like I'm being reborn again. So anyway, let me let me exit off of tangent lane. Now over the past, I would say 8 years or so, I have been finding myself being more and more intrigued by ancient pagan beliefs, and I've learned as much as I can. But however, I am absolutely no expert at all. I'm just a woman who loves to learn, to make sense of things, to connect with a higher power. I'm always on the hunt to find the deeper meaning of life. So, the information I'm sharing about Halloween comes from years of personal reading and various online sources, as well as some personal traditions, beliefs, and experiences. I'm in no way judging anyone's religious beliefs or suggesting one thing is superior to another. I honestly can't say that loud enough. My intention is just to share the history of Halloween with you. For many of us, Halloween is a time where we have dressed up in costumes, we've trick or treated when we were young children. It's a time when we carve jack o' lanterns, we decorate our houses with fake spider webs, we go pumpkin picking. I mean, I personally still find these activities to be really enjoyable and nostalgic and even purposeful, as an adult. I mean, I'm almost 40 years old and I still perk up over pumpkin spiced anything. And I always have multiple pumpkins on my front porch all season. It's just a fun time of the year and tends to awaken something in us that has maybe been sleeping all summer. What you might not have ever known, though, is the true origins of Halloween. It really is more than flannel shackets and scary movies and costumes and candy corn. Halloween is actually derived from the 2,000-year-old Celtic festival of Samhain, which is spelled Samhain, and you've probably seen this word all over social media because people still celebrate Samhain today. So, the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain was a pagan religious celebration that welcomed the final harvest of the year. At the time, again, we're talking about 2,000 years ago, the new year was believed to start on November 1st, not January 1st as we know it. So, therefore, October 31st marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the dark and cold winter months. The Celts believed that the veil between the living and the dead was actually at its thinnest during this time, allowing spirits to walk amongst the living. It was a time when the Celts felt especially close to their dead loved ones. So Samhain was a time to celebrate not just the end of the harvest season, but the dead returning to earth as well. For the actual Samhain celebrations, bonfires were lit for protection and cleansing for that new year that they were, starting and welcoming. Household hearths would be then lit from that massive bonfire that the festival was centered around so that the homes would be protected all winter long. Because, if you're thinking back, like there wasn't many things that people could do to protect themselves during those hard winter months. So it was really a spiritual experience and I guess ritual or celebration to try to protect themselves to make it through to the next harvest season. Costumes were also worn during Samhain to ward off evil spirits, and fortune telling was practiced. Meals were even left at dinner tables for friendly spirits, and treats were left on doorsteps and even the sides of roads, and candles were lit to help those loved ones find their way back to the spirit world. I mean, honestly, it sounds amazing, kind of, doesn't it? And you're probably already picking up on some of those ancient traditions that have carried across time and even to today, right? We'll kind of get into that later. So, sometime around 43 AD, the Roman Empire had actually conquered pretty much all of the Celtic territory. And so some Roman festivals and traditions became basically combined with Celtic traditions. So, like, for example, the Romans celebrated the Roman goddess, I believe it's pronounced Pomona, the goddess of fruits and trees, and her symbol was an apple. From then on, apples became incorporated into Samhain celebrations. I mean, even today, apples are a large part of fall and Halloween. Personally, my family always has freshly cut apples and that caramel dip on Halloween. And honestly, I can't imagine any Halloween party without some sort of apple treat, like caramel apples, apple candies, or even bobbing for apples. So eventually, though, Pope Gregory the Third designated November 1st, known as All Saints' Day, as a day to honor Christian saints. And then around 1000 AD, the church named November 2nd, so the next day, All Souls' Day, which is a day to honor the dead. It is actually widely believed today that the church was attempting to replace the Celtic festival of Samhain, the festival of the dead, with a church sanctioned holiday. This is believed to be true because All Souls Day was celebrated very similarly to Samhain. Big bonfires, parades, dressing up in costumes, not to mention that All Saints' Day, November 1st, was also called All Hallows or All Hallowmas, which eventually led to Samhain being called All Hallows Eve, and over time we get Halloween. So, how do we go from the bonfires of Celtic Samhain to the trick or treating of our American Halloween, right? Well, the celebration of Halloween was extremely limited in colonial New England due to the rigid Protestant belief systems of that time. It was much more common for Halloween to be celebrated in Maryland and the southern colonies of colonial America. As the colonists' customs kind of meshed with American Indians, a very distinct American version of Halloween emerged. At first, the celebrations involved play parties, which were public events that celebrated the harvest. Neighbors would also share ghost stories, tell fortunes, they would sing and dance. By the 19th century, autumn festivals were common, but Halloween wasn't celebrated everywhere in America yet. By the second half, though, of the 19th century, America became flooded with Irish immigrants fleeing the Irish potato famine. And these Irish families helped popularize Halloween throughout the country. As Halloween celebrations grew in America, Americans began to follow the European traditions brought to them by these newer immigrants, and they would dress up in costumes and go house to house asking for food or money. Sounds familiar, sort of, right? Like, are your ears kind of buzzing when you hear that, right? This tradition of going house to house has evolved into our trick or treating. Young ladies also believed that on Halloween night, they could divine the name of their future husband by doing a ritual with yarn, mirrors, and apples. And there we have another apple reference we can thank the Roman goddess Pomona for. In fact, a lot of Halloween traditions that are no longer practiced have a lot to do with helping young ladies find their future husbands. So, ladies, if you're listening and you're single and you're looking to mingle, here's a tradition. One apple tradition was for young single ladies to throw apple peels over her shoulders in hopes they would fall on the floor into the shape of her future husband's initials. So, again, another tangent. Ladies, if you're listening and you want to do this, I would even say, even if you're married and you just kind of want to throw them over and see if you happen to get your husband's initials, I would love to hear all about that. Maybe I'll try it too. What a fun thing to try out on Halloween night. But let me get back to it. So, by the late 1800s, there was a push to make Halloween more about the community and less about ghosts and pranks and witchcraft and all that. This is when Halloween parties for children and adults became common. And the parties at the time included games, food, and costumes, right? Kind of similar to today. However, though, parents were urged to remove anything considered, frightening from their Halloween celebrations. And because of this, Halloween lost a lot of its superstitious and religious overtones by the 20th century. Now, between 1920 and 1950, trick or treating somehow revived as it was an inexpensive way for, an entire community to share the Halloween celebration. I believe the theory was families could prevent tricks or mischief being played on them by providing the neighborhood children with, small treats. And this is how the new American tradition of trick or treating was born. Fun fact, apparently, Americans spend about $6 billion annually on Halloween, which makes it our second largest commercial holiday after Christmas. That fact really surprises me for some reason. I personally would have guessed Thanksgiving or Easter to be second to Christmas, but I honestly love that it's Halloween. Okay, ghosties. I hope this history lesson was more enlightening than boring for you. I know there was a lot to the timeline, but I find that both important and intriguing. Like, does it surprise you that Halloween has been adapted so many times throughout history? Because it does surprise me. I feel like our country celebrates Halloween, but doesn't grasp the deep meaning behind it. Maybe this little history lesson sheds some light on some of your own Halloween traditions or inspires you to maybe try new ones. I know for me, it is interesting to learn about the history of Halloween because it helps bring more purpose to my life. Like candles, for example. I love to light candles this time of year. And I know you are just like me. We all have scented candles, and it really does bring us joy to light them this time of year. Okay, now bear with me. This is my favorite part of this episode, and I'm just warning you, I'm going down the rabbit hole a little bit, so buckle up. But maybe we love burning candles so much during Halloween season because our cells know about the ancient Samhain bonfires. Maybe we love tarot cards and psychic readings so much right now because our cells know about the fortune telling and divination of the ancient festivals. Could we possibly enjoy ghost movies and decorating with skeletons during Halloween because our cells know that this is the time to honor the dead? And could we possibly begin to feel cozy this time of year because our cells know to relax into those coming winter months, just like the original Samhain festivals celebrate it? Would it be within reason to think that maybe we love squash and pumpkins so much during Halloween because our cells know that it's time to honor the final harvest of the year? And why is Halloween second to Christmas in terms of how much money we spend on the holiday? Could it be possible that our cells know Halloween is the time we celebrate our dead, with Christmas being the time we celebrate our living? If energy truly is never lost, but simply just changes its form, then our energy has been here for thousands of years. Okay. Our energy possibly holds thousands of years of traditions and experiences. I think it's very possible that deep down in our souls, we just know certain things, but we don't credit our being for knowing. Maybe we either just don't realize it's there or we shrug it off. So maybe this Halloween, we can all practice tapping into our own intuition, honoring it, and expressing gratitude for this honestly sacred day. Maybe we could find ways to honor our dead since this is the time they are closest to us. I know one thing I have instinctively been doing a lot of the past few weeks is cooking my family's recipes, like the actual recipes that my grandmothers wrote down and made for years. And not only do I make them, but I share them with others. I feel like when I do that, I not only feel close to them, but it helps them live on with other people. It's one way that I really like to connect with my dead, and what better season to do that than now, Halloween. Thank you for being here with me. I share just the overview of the history I could research, but I'm sure there is so much more I didn't even get to. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this episode because I really enjoyed making it. If you are comfortable, please feel free to leave a comment about how you celebrate Halloween. One last thing before I let you go, though. I know Halloween is derived from the ancient celebrations of Samhain. However, traditionally, my family has always called October 31st Halloween. So that's what it will always be in my life and in my heart. So just know that it is more than acceptable for anyone to call the day Samhain or Halloween. Sometimes I feel like people on social media, especially, act superior for using certain words. And you know what? Halloween is valid. On that note, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Happy Halloween to all the ghosties. May your season be filled with comfort, ghosts, and memories.